Hi, Junior with today's thought, and today we're going to be talking about TikTok. As you probably know, the House recently voted to give ByteDance, that's the parent company of TikTok, gave them two choices: either sell TikTok to an American buyer or stop operating TikTok in the United States. And we'll see how that pans out. A lot of buyers or potential buyers have already stepped up. And the question is, and this is an important point, whether the Chinese government would allow ByteDance to divest TikTok, sell it to an American company. And that tells you a lot right there, that there are opponents of this bill. And by the way, the president has said, Biden has said that he will sign it, and it's a matter of whether Chuck Schumer in the Senate will bring it up, will allow it to come for a vote. And he's got to be under some pressure, but I don't understand if his own president of his own party is saying that he will sign the bill, then why the holdup? But apparently, though it passed overwhelmingly in the House, there are questions of whether it would pass the Senate, and it's because of people like Rand Paul, who's whenever he's one of the reasons I get it. He's not really, he serves as a Republican, but if you listen to him, he's really a libertarian, and I have a little problem with libertarians, but that's another subject for another day. The point is that he opposes the bill, and the people who oppose the bill are trying to make this a free speech issue, that if people want to go on TikTok, and maybe some of the content is causing children to commit suicide and whatever, it's free speech. And I understand the free speech argument, but there's a bigger issue, which is that now Rand Paul was on TV, I saw him, and saying that it's a flat out lie that China, that the Chinese Communist Party owns, or even partly owns, the ByteDance that owns TikTok. And he's right about that, but he's missing the point, which is that China it's a fascist society, and one of the main tenets of fascism is that everything inside the state, nothing outside the state. So that was Mussolini's famous statement. And in communism, the government, the people, supposedly the people, but the government owns all the means of production, owns all the companies. In fascism, they don't, but the government does not. But the government controls everything. Everything is nothing outside the state, everything inside the state, and private companies. Though they are allowed to operate, they operate under the guidelines of the government that can tell them. Well, for instance, Chinese companies are required to cooperate with, if you want somebody's phone records, or there was a famous case with Apple where the government wanted Apple to unlock some phones because the government was looking for some information. I don't remember the exact case. The point is, though, that Apple refused to do it, and they could refuse to do it, and they did. China, it's not like that. China, every company is required to provide whatever to the Chinese Communist Party, whatever it asks for. So, and they influence what these companies can do, even though they do not actually own them. And the question is, it's not a matter of free speech. First of all, it's ByteDance's choice, or actually the Chinese TikTok TikTok can become independent. ByteDance could sell off TikTok for a lot of money. I've heard prices up to $100 billion. And then TikTok could continue to operate in the United States, and everybody who's on TikTok would continue to have access to TikTok. But the algorithms would be controlled by an American company, and the data would be kept in America, which I'm not sure it does. TikTok through ByteDance would be required to share data wherever it is. That's my assumption, with the Chinese Communist government, and it's basically a method to spy on Americans, and that is the main thing. I'm going to show you a video now that tells you all you have to know about TikTok, and I wish the person who was the talking head who was questioning Rand Paul did not show him this video and ask him to comment on it. Maybe he was interviewed before the video, but this is Hillary Vaughn, who is an excellent reporter for Fox News, and you'll see she's confronting the CEO of TikTok and asking a simple question: can you guarantee that the Chinese government has no influence on TikTok? Here's the video, and you watch yourself and you draw your own conclusions.
Mr. Chu, can you say with 100% certainty that the Chinese government does not have any influence over TikTok? Can you say with 100% certainty that the Chinese government does not have any influence over TikTok?
Project Texas over the last 3-4 years to address all these concerns.
Is that a yes or no? Does the Chinese government have influence over TikTok?
This is about the algorithm.
Mr. Chu, does the Chinese government have influence over TikTok? Yes or no?
Why have you blocked videos about the Uyghur genocide in the past?
Mr. Chu, does the Chinese government have influence over TikTok? Yes or no? Mr. Chu, can you promise the American people that the Chinese government does not have influence over TikTok? Yes or no? Mr. Chu, can you say with 100% certainty that the Chinese government does not have influence over TikTok? Yes or no?
Are you worried about American data being accessed by the CCP?
We have built Project Texas over the last 3 years to address those concerns. I've said it many times. You can go look up what I've said in the past. It's very robust.
So people
Can I?
so then it should be an
Yep,
easy
yep,
answer,
we're walking.
Mr. Chu. Does the Chinese government have influence over TikTok?
The algorithms are part of Project Texas. They are in the Oracle infrastructure, and we have given access to third parties like Oracle and others, so that there's transparency on the code. That's the way to address it. And I've said this before. Go look at it.
But as long as you're owned by the CCP, that's why lawmakers are worried about that. What do you have to say for that?
It's not owned by the CCP. ByteDance is owned by global investors, and about the majority of our investors are global investors, and then the rest is owned by the founders and the employees. So there's no CCP ownership.
Mr. Chu, doesn't it say everything that you cannot promise the American people that the Chinese government does not have influence over TikTok? It should be a simple and easy answer.
Excuse me. Thank you.
Wouldn't it
Who
be
are
better
you
for
meeting with?
What you just saw should, as I said, just tell you everything you need to know. Hillary Vaughn, this intrepid reporter for Fox News, asking the CEO of TikTok multiple times, can you guarantee that the Chinese government has no influence on TikTok? And he didn't say no. He didn't say yes. He just refused to answer, which to me is the same thing as saying yes, that the Chinese government does have influence. And everybody who is supporting TikTok should be made to watch. Should have to watch that. They should show it. They should call this guy back, the CEO, I forgot his name, call him back, put him under oath in front of the House and maybe the Senate too, if Chuck Schumer would allow it. Show that video to the CEO of TikTok and ask him under oath, does the Chinese government, can you say, tell us 100% that the Chinese government does not have influence over TikTok? Not asking him to say that it does have influence. Can you just tell us 100% that it does not? Would be interesting to see his answer. But one final point to make about this: if TikTok cannot operate in the United States anymore, there are plenty. I mean, if you're talking about these little short videos, there's Instagram, there is YouTube, there is YouTube Shorts, and if there's no TikTok here, there would be. I can't imagine that somebody else will not step into the breach and form a completely American company that would have the same operational capabilities, characteristics as TikTok, and people will just migrate to that platform. So the whole argument is against it. I don't see it. It's the same as if TikTok were a public company, if TikTok went public and wanted to sell stock on the American on an American stock exchange, it could be the American Stock Exchange, it could be the New York Stock Exchange, but there are certain accounting rules that they would have to comply with. There are several Chinese companies have already been delisted from the New York Stock Exchange because they refuse to comply with our own laws. So do you make an exception for TikTok or for a social media platform that they don't have to comply with the same rules that anybody else does, that American companies have to because of some free speech issue? Another point I would make, you may remember there was a big scandal or a big flap. This was in and thank God it wasn't during the Trump administration, because there was found in, I forget the city in Texas, but it was a branch embassy of the Chinese government, and it turns out they were spying on Americans, and Trump threw them out. Now, I say it's a good idea. Thank God it didn't happen under the Biden administration, because they did. China, in my opinion, owns Joe Biden, and that branch embassy would be allowed to continue operating and stealing American secrets, spying on us. But the point I want to make about all that to Rand Paul, if you see this video, and the chances are that he would be small, but I guess the mistake that China made setting up the embassy, they should have set up a social. If that were the headquarters of a social media app or website or program, then I guess it would be okay. Then it would be free speech, and Americans have to be allowed to see it, to access it. And if the Chinese government is using it to spy on us, well, that's what you pay for, free speech. And I guess I keep going on this because I would make another point, because Kellyanne Conway was on TV the morning I'm recording this Friday. You're seeing it on Monday, but she was saying that the way to fight China is not to be like China. In other words, the idea is that China suppresses free speech, so we should not be like China. Well, number one, again, it's not suppressing free speech. It's ByteDance's choice. They can make arrangements so that TikTok can continue to operate in the United States. But I would say that there are some ways that we should be like China. And what I mean is, I don't mean we should go communist, and I don't mean we should restrict free speech and have the kind of social credit system and all the oppressive policies that China has. What I'm saying is there should be reciprocity. If a Chinese company can operate a social media platform in the United States totally free and put anything on that they want to, then an American company should be able to do the same. American companies should be able to operate a social media platform in China with the same freedoms that the Chinese platform has here. And if we're not allowed to, then we should apply China, we should apply to China what they apply to us. And I guess I've gone on enough for today. So that's it. Thanks for stopping by. If you could I welcome your comments as always below the video. If you could subscribe, that would really be great. Share this video with anyone you think would benefit from it. But most of all, come back and see me again. I would love to see all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.